right, we're going to try to make sense of this together, because this has been what I'll call a collaborative project now for, I would say, the last 5 days for sure. So I'm reading and picking up all kinds of very, very interesting things within the collective energy of the omniverse, not the collective energy of the population, because I'm kind of done with that. Anybody who watched my video on the current happenings in my apartment building within the last week knows why. Hello. I am ignoring the collective consciousness of humanity at the moment and looking at other things. If you watch that last video, you'll understand why. So, I'm going to try to make sense out of this all over the place information that I currently am sitting with. So the other day when I started writing about soul autonomy and soul independence, I was also getting some pretty interesting pictures of the whole planet, the meridian of the planet, the energy sitting at the north and south pole of the planet, and what was going on in the center of the planet as well. I'm going to try to make some sense out of this. Again, I started seeing this the same day that I was writing about soul autonomy. That video was already made, but because at that time I didn't understand what I was looking at, I decided not to talk about it. So here goes nothing. First, I'll start off by saying this. Within myself and my personal life, the people I speak to on a regular basis, and the readings I'm doing, people are all asking me the exact same question. And it's a question, honestly, I have not been able to answer. If someone comes to me, whether that's friend or family, or someone who comes to me through a client for a reading, and their energy is solely based on the frequency of 3D, it's easy to give them a list of reasons why their manifestation in a higher realm is not trickling down into this one if they are solely on the frequency wave of 3D. But the people that are asking me these questions are not people whose energy frequency is based in the third dimension. And this is not something that I had an answer for. Now, when I don't have an answer for something, I will tell you, all of you, the person in the reading, the family member, the neighbor, whoever it is, I don't have an answer for you. So for 4 or 5 days, I've been telling people, I don't have an answer for you. So this is a very interesting revelation, if you will. Someone said to me about 4 days ago, I'm putting all this energy out. I'm manifesting like crazy. But there's this one thing that is not moving in my life. There's one thing that's not moving within my power of manifestation. Why is that? Well, I didn't have an answer for that friend. I didn't have an answer for the person who had a reading. They had a 7-page reading, and there were many answers inside of answers in that reading, but not the answer to the question, why is there one thing that seems to be stuck in the third dimension, even though the higher frequency is there, it's not manifesting into my life. Why is that? I'm going to mention several people's names in this video, and hopefully that is okay. Like I said, this became a community project because on the day I received and started writing about soul autonomy, I also started drawing some very unusual pictures of the above the planet, what was going on in the North and South Pole, and what was the energy going up and down what I will call the central tube of planet Earth. So we have a central tube within our body that's connected to the chakra system that clears, resets, and has everything to do with our own energetic field and the map that our own energetic field is following at this time. The Earth also has a central tube, a central energetic tube from the North to South Pole, where energy comes and goes, comes cosmically down to the Earth, mixes with Earth energy, and Earth energy goes back into the cosmos, mixed with the combined energy of sentient life. In the last video, I talked about the ley lines and the grids and the meridians of the body detoxification process that is going on at the moment, but still was not understanding what I was seeing as far as what was going on in the center of Earth. So, the community project started with my friend Mary in Colorado. She's lived in the same house in Colorado for the last 3 years, and she's never had any issues. Now, if she would have mentioned this to me once, I probably wouldn't have figured it out. But she just kept talking and talking and talking about all the things that had gone wrong in her home in just one day when she had lived there for 3 years. So the first issue was there's some kind of water leak in the basement coming from somewhere because something is clogged, but the plumber can't exactly figure out what's going on. The other issue, the second issue in the house, was there was a mirroring or mimicking problem within the refrigerator, I guess the coil or the distribution line, where that coil or distribution line had a clog or something was stuck in the system. Now, I wouldn't have thought about it unless she just kept talking about it. And I finally said to her, you know, you're lucky. It's not anything major. It is in the basement. We went through this whole thing about, you know, gratitude and whatever, and we kind of laughed about it. So I'd been sitting here at my desk looking at this picture for 3 days, really quite not understanding what exactly this was trying to say to me. There seems to be a block in our earthly ability to manifest, but only in one direction. And that one direction is the female-male aspect within our own personal body. And for each person, that physical manifestation will not be the same thing. It will be different. But what will be the same is the block and the lack of understanding of where that block was coming from. Again, if this was someone with a 3D perspective on a 3D frequency with a 3D problem, it would be easier to give some sort of answer. But I can assure you that in every single instance, this was not the case. So the block in manifestation for the whole, as in all of us, it's coming up in readings, it's coming up in conversations with friends, it's just coming up across the board. So in talking to Mary about her issues in her house in Colorado, it was really interesting that this man, the plumber, came to her and said, you're doing something, you have to be doing something. Are you using, wipes, or are you throwing products down the toilet that shouldn't be flushed on the toilet, whatever. She was getting very frustrated because she's a grown woman and knows better to throw things down the septic system that the septic system won't accept or that would cost her money to fix, right? So she's getting frustrated, but then it hit me. The divine masculine of the planet knows that the clog or the chain or the chink in the system is coming from the divine feminine. That's the first thing I realized, that the divine masculine is aware of it. In her case, it came out through the accusatory tone of the plumber that was insisting that she must be the one that's clogging the field. And that's when it hit me that what he's saying is true. The divine feminine is in charge, in fact, of this clog in the coil or clog in the drain or clog in the system from the North and South Pole. Now, the reason this would be will lead me to giving you a little bit of a backstory. You may know people that swear that they go to certain geographical locations and open and close portals and these kinds of things. There are many people that are aware that they are doing it. There are just as many people, if not more people, doing this work while not being cognitive that they're doing this work. Now, why is that? That is because we are the key. I have been told since 2016 up until about 2021 that I have the keys, that I am the key, but I just didn't get it. It was just the same message. You have the keys. You already have the key. You are the key to the system, and we're all keys to the system. But I'll go back to the opening and closing of portals. Now, why would the divine feminine on the planet close portals from one geographical location to the other, or one energetic hotspot in the cosmos to an energetic hotspot on planet Earth? Why would she know to do that? Because there was a time, and I'm not sure how long ago, the divine feminine did this, but the divine feminine knew that there was going to be an invasion or an attempt to take over energetically planet Earth. So the divine feminine got together and decided to close these energetic portals from geographical location to geographical location, not only on planet Earth, but again, from the cosmos to planet Earth, from planet Earth to the center of the Earth, to Agartha, to the Agarthan network. We shut it down. We shut down portals all over this planet. And actually, I had been opening for portals for many years without knowing I was doing it, until Higher Self came to me in 2017 and made me aware of what I was doing and why the energy and why the weather was changing every time I changed geographical locations. So I moved to California. 28 days of rain ended the drought. I moved to Tijuana. They had the first earthquake on the meridian between, I think, Baja California and the Mexican border for the first time in 150 or 170 years. I moved to Kansas. They had torrential rains, and we lost 100-foot trees 3 weekends in a row. Now, at the time, I had no idea what was going on, but I am walking around, and so are many of you, as living, breathing keys. So that means whatever we locked down in past incarnations to protect this planet from invasion, from invasive forces, from AI technology, from holographic technology, from energetic disturbance, from physical invasion, all of it. So these portals have been open for a long time, but it really started amping up in 2016. So in 2016, I did not need to even know what I was doing, because I am the living, breathing, walking key. All I had to do was go in that geographical location. The energy opened up. I got really tired. And then whatever geographical location I was in was experiencing horrific storms shortly thereafter, usually within a matter of hours of my arrival. It's happened every single place I've gone since 2016 until currently. So I wanted to give you that backstory. because while Mary was talking about her house and the plumber yelling at her for throwing down things that are not supposed to be a part of a piece and part of the actual septic system that are causing a problem, that's when it hit me. The divine masculine knows that this clog, that this lack of manifestation, and this is not just personal manifestation, we're also talking about macrocosmically on the world stage. Why are there certain things that are not manifesting? And there are a multitude of reasons, but those reasons have been discussed in other videos. And I'm just a person that doesn't like to travel or revisit older information. I don't want you guys to get bored, right? So I see that the divine masculine is aware that this issue is an energetic issue and that it has something to do with the divine feminine. Now, how many of the divine masculine know it's the divine feminine, and whether they know that we closed the central tube to planet Earth and partially the central tube also in the mirroring image within our body. And I know people are not liking the word chakra system, so I don't really care what people like. I only care that I can get the words out, what these concepts that are already hard to explain to you without trying to choose words around words because people don't like those words anymore. So, central tube in the body has been partially closed off or shut down in part by the divine feminine as a protection, because there are 22 races that have already done genetic experiments on us. Now, in the mirroring macrocosmic of the planet, the divine feminine has shut down the energetic center or the central tube for Earth, not all the way, but partially, for reasons I just mentioned. So we're talking about the plumber. We get on a three-way call. Now I'm talking to Mary and Connie. And when Connie says the same thing that I've already heard, I can't tell you how many times in a matter of the last 5 or 6 days, where is the energy I put out coming back manifestation? Again, if these were people that weren't on the first wave of conscious awareness, these were people that didn't know how to get their energy into alignment and manifest, it would be a different story, right? But we're all going through this right now. So in the three-way conversation with the both of them, Saturday, so that would be Saturday, October 15th, they're both talking, and all of a sudden I see the reaction of the plumber, the divine masculine, knowing that it's the divine feminine that has shut down the system or clogged the system, if you will. And that's when I realized this is something that we did to protect the planet. So the central tube of Earth, from the cosmos to the Earth and from the Earth to the Agarthan network, was not completely shut down, but it was hindered. To what degree, I don't know. Looking at it energetically, it almost looked like it was running at about 60 or maybe 60, somewhere around 60% capacity, kind of like our manifestation. And that's when it hit me. Wow. The divine feminine somehow must have, for very good reasons of invasion, shut partially down the central tube of planet Earth. Now, one of the things the central tube in planet Earth is used for is cosmic beings or interdimensional beings, extraterrestrial beings, anybody that is above in the fifth or above dimension working with beings on planet Earth would send down energy to the planet from the North Pole to the South through that central tube. How they gauge us, their litmus test for us on how we are dealing with the current energy, is by our acclimation process. So they're testing our energy as it comes back up to them. But they're not getting an accurate read on our Earth energy either, because 40% of that central tube has been taken offline by the divine feminine. Now, When I realized what was going on in the three-way conversation, I closed my eyes and saw the rest of the diagram that had been sitting on my table for 3 days. And this is just like all the rest of the portals on planet Earth that we have shut down due to energetic, physical manipulation, control, invasion. So we had also shut down the central tube of Earth, which was stopping the Earth from its full capacity to breathe, to manifest, to function. It's almost like, I don't know if I'm using the right word, but diabolic is what comes to mind. The biological processing center, which uses the central tube both in our body and in the planet to clear, to detoxify, to manifest, to send an energy back and forth from ourselves to the cosmos and from the cosmos to ourselves, was not running at full function. So during this three-way phone conversation, I say, wait a minute, stop talking for a second. I can see the problem. We have partially shut this down. And so let's go in there right now. And I didn't think about it. I didn't plan about it. I didn't know about it. Nor did I think to like check with somebody or ask an outside influence or make a phone call. Nothing. Instantly, I just knew that the three of us were involved as the divine feminine in stopping the invasion. The fear of that invasion no longer exists on this planet. So what we had done in the past, however many years ago, lifetimes ago it was now hindering our own process within pulling in higher dimensional frequencies and manifesting into the 3D reality that which is in alignment with us. When I saw this, I just asked them to look at it, to feel into it for a second, and I just started talking. So I'm the key. We are the key holders, but we are physically the key. So the only way you as in a body, masculine or feminine, doesn't matter. I'm not saying that only feminine open and close portals either. However, you only are the key to open a portal if you were the key to close it. So I see people talking about this, and Mary actually had an experience where someone told her that she had opened a portal and that he had gone behind her and closed it because she didn't have a right to do that or didn't know what she was doing or whatever his excuse to change energetically what she had done. The thing is, I don't even have to be cognitive of it. So in this case, I'm telling you that I was. But with other portals that I've shut down, since my body, my vibration, my frequency wave within my field is the key, it's almost like I am blockchain technology in an avatar. So if I closed a portal down 3,000 years ago, I can go to that geographical location and my body becomes the physical energetic key. So by walking through that area, I just open it. I don't have to say anything because I know that I've set up this time for any portal that I've closed. I have given myself a time released capsule of information, of wisdom, or a time code for when I travel back to that geographical location and then use my body or my avatar as this anti-theft system, as this, it's a blockchain technology. So my frequency can open whatever I have closed. So if I have not closed a portal, if it wasn't my energy, then I am not the key to open that. Now, the three of us must have been involved in shutting down the central tube of Earth to stop invasion, through whatever channel that may be, or we wouldn't have been the ones. And that's why everyone kept asking me, How long does it take for this energy that I've put out to come back? I don't know. The reason I couldn't answer that is because everything I've worked on manifesting in 2 years has come to me, except for one thing. So my question to myself and everyone else is the same question that everyone has for me. But because I had been asked every day for 5 or 6 days straight, why am I putting energy out that's not coming back to me? That's when it hit me. All of these pieces to the puzzle hit me. Now, if Mary had not had umpteen problems in her apartment or in her house, then she wouldn't have been saying to me, I can't believe I lived here for 3 years, but she just kept saying it. And I'm like, why do you just keep saying it? Where's your gratitude for what's going right? And I'm like, God, I'm such a dumbass sometimes. The reason she kept saying it was so that the light bulb would go off. Tina, she's giving you the answer to your question. So the three of us get on the phone. We're on the phone well into an hour when I just start seeing that the central tube of Earth, just like the central tube in our body, is not fully functioning. So the first thing that I saw and the first thing that I heard was the central tube, or the chakra system connected to the central tube in the body that connects our energetic auric field within our own body's meridian. There was a blockage we had placed there so that we could not be messed with energetically. And that is because they wanted access to our sacral chakra. Now, why would they want access to our sacral chakra, you might ask? And some of you might already know the answer. Because the sacral chakra is our center of creation. It's not our brain. It's not our heart. Our passion creates everything from our love life to our job opportunities to a painting to pieces of music played on the guitar or played on the piano, right? Our sacral chakra, if they could get to that, if they had full access, they have found ways to get to us all the way around, but they never had full access to the sacral chakra. And that's what they really wanted. If they could control what or who I desired, then it would be over in my ability to create. So there was a block between the sacral chakra and the throat chakra, meaning what I'm feeling, experiencing, my passion, my drive, my direction within my sacral chakra comes up the central tube and gets expressed through my voice, whether that's chanting or meditating or praying or singing to you, whatever that is, it comes from my sacral, the sacred beloved within me, to my throat chakra to be expressed. And they wanted access, okay? And they also wanted access to the sacral chakra of the core of planet Earth because it holds the blueprint for all sentient life, not only on this planet, but within this universe. And this is something that I found out in 2018. But the rest of it, the fact that the core of the earth, crystalline core of the earth, held the template for all sentient life on this planet and within this universe. That's why some beings call this the eternal living library of the universe. Living library. Think about it. They're saying that I'm a book. They're saying that elephants and octopuses and seahorses are a book, that plant life is a book. They wanted access to that book. They wanted access to that core. And that is why me and however many of you were involved in shutting down or partially shutting down the core, crystalline core of Earth, the sacral chakra of planet Earth. But it was blocking the expression of our creativity and our manifestation. But what I saw on Saturday, October 15th, was not only was it blocking us on a personal level, it was blocking the detoxification of the planet. It was blocking the release of war, of bloodshed on the body's meridian of the planet. And so when I saw this, The three of us went in there and I just started speaking. I didn't use my brain. There was not one thought involved. We just went in and we removed the blockage. So in a reading that I had today, her numerology and her messages were tied into this enough that I said to her, I'm going to show you a diagram that I drew 3 days ago about the central core of Earth and the realignment of the chakras and the cosmic and earthly energies and the blockage. And she said, oh my God, I have a grid under my bed that represents the Earth and the chakra system of the Earth and the North and South poles. And I don't know how long it's been under her bed. But Saturday, 3 hours, which is a number that came up in her reading over and over and over again, was number 3, connected to the Empress, the harvest, the manifestation, the abundance. That's what 3 is. Kept coming up over and over. And when I said something, when I showed her this drawing, 3 hours after Connie, Mary, and I cleared what we had placed there thousands of years ago, possibly millions of years, as a deterrent from outside external forces being able to access the core information, the sacral chakra of the planet. We put this energetic chastity belt, if you will. I don't know what else to say, guys. It's hard for me to explain things that I see sometimes. I'm doing the best I can here. But we went in and removed that. And today, I wouldn't have mentioned anything, but day 6, the person in the reading, Judy Henman, said, where is the manifestation or the energy that I've been putting out for so long? And I said, if I could count the amount of people that pointed that out, that brought that to my attention and asked me for an answer in the last week, you would be amazed. So let me just show you this drawing. She then sent me pictures of the underneath side of her bed. And I don't know how long that grid of the chakra earth system has been under her bed, at least the last year. I don't think I asked her that because I was so blown away by what was going on here. So 3 hours after Mary, Connie, and I cleared the clog and the drain that we put there to stop this invasion, she got underneath her bed and pulled out the entire grid and redid it. And I was blown away by this. And I'm wondering how many other people on Saturday felt this. And I think it was very, very close to 1 o'clock. So I think it was 12 o'clock for Connie and 11 o'clock Colorado time for Mary. And Judy Henman and I are in the same time zone, Eastern Standard Time. So this would have been Saturday around 1-ish Eastern Standard Time that we cleared this. Now, I had a feeling to look back at Judy's reading that was just a matter of like 3 hours ago and look at her numerology real quick and add it up, which I had already done, but for some reason Spirit was just saying, look at her numerology again. And I looked at her numerology and I was like, oh crap, this is telling me 14 days, because she said, well, this is so interesting that you guys did this and then I did this. I wonder how long it's going to take for this clearing to be felt planet-wide, like on our manifestation and also within physicality on planet Earth. How long is it going to take for things to energetically change after we did this? And I just flipped back to her numerology and I said, oh crap, 14 days, which would be Halloween. However, I got to tell you, I'm not sure if that means 14 days from the day we did it, which would be Saturday, or 14 days from the reading itself, which was today. So sometime, I guess, Between October 29th and October 31st, we will feel and see the results of removing the energetic barrier that we put there to stop this invasion. So this is wonderful news on all counts. I expect those that are energy sensitive to be seeing a difference and feeling a difference within their manifestation, within their energy field, and within the meridians of the body. Planet-wide, I also expect many other things. Now, part of this energy coming and fluctuating down and up and down the central tube, expanding and contracting between the North and South Pole, plays a very big part on how much solar flares are taken into this planet with ease and grace, or how much they rock the core and cause deep earthquakes. And I think there's been, I'm actually subscribed to Dutchanese channel on YouTube, but I never ever watch his videos. I haven't in years. I just simply get the notification, so I'll know it's like 6.5 or whatever the title of the video is. So I know we've had a lot of earthquakes, but again, North and South Pole, energetic entrance and exit for energy from the sun and from cosmic energy that causes a shift within the core, which is what produces deep earthquakes to begin with. This means that the plates, the tectonic plates, the movement of the water and everything else with that barrier removed should be more graceful. It should lessen the effects. It may not lessen, it's not going to lessen the number of the, 6.7 or whatever, the number of the quake, the seismic activity is not going to change, but it will change the amount of damage said vibration or rocking the core of the planet will cause for this planet. So that's huge news. I am definitely going to keep my eyes and ears open as always, as I always do, for what is energetically changing within manifestation. I'm also very curious for you guys, since this happened Saturday, what kind of changes you may be experiencing within your manifestations, and not just with your manifestation, also with demanifestation. Because there are things in my life and many hundreds of people that I've done readings for now that are wondering what is taking so long to demanifest something once you decide that you no longer want it, once you're no longer holding the energy of that thing. Why is it taking so long for that thing to dissipate? Because we pull in manifestation from the unlimited potential within the quantum field. So there is no time and space within the quantum field. So if I can hype myself up internally and believe something enough, I can wake up and find it in my bed the next morning or laying on my dining room table. But that is not what has been happening. And I guess that part of this has to do with the burial. Wow, Freudian slip on that one. That would be Halloween burial, I guess. The barrier between our sacral chakra and our throat chakra. So using our passion to speak our truth. And not only that, abracadabra, or the world was created with the word, right, from the Bible. Take that as you will. That just means your words are take form and shape and cause. In your reality, that is your manifestation. That is how you manifest. So I very much expect this to make a big shift in that. Now, there may have been many other people that took part in this. And I think that's one of the reasons that I wanted to share this with you. Sometimes you may take part in something and you may have known that you took part in something for a couple hours on Saturday, October 15th. That's why I'm putting this out there. You may have simply just laid down for an hour or a 2-hour period at the same day, at that same time, and may have been pulled into it. Because I've experienced this before, where people we have worked with before to clear ley lines or open and close portals and something, we're automatically connected to their energy, right? So say this friend of mine picks up the phone and calls me. Our combined energy is a key to a master lock for something that we didn't even know we had, that we didn't even know that we were. We are unlocking things in a merry, magical way. We are becoming more and more cognitive of our powers every single day. But this is huge. I really, really expect a massive shift, not only in manifestation, but demanifestation as well. So let's keep our eyes out for these amazing changes. You guys know I don't have my eye on anything in 3D, but somebody out there always lets me know when something magnificent happens in either direction. So I look forward to hearing that from you, of course, as always. Now, why do they want their hands on my sacral chakra? Because they don't want me to speak my truth. That's part of it. They don't want me to fully express who I am. That's part of it. More importantly, or in the strongest of ways, they don't want you to know, or I to know, or we to know, anyone to know how powerful our own ability to create is by simply feeling it in our solar plexus or sacral chakra, and expressing that through word, through song, through chant, through prayer, for whatever it is. This is connected to something else very important I want you to know. And this is going to be a ballpark time frame on this, so don't nail me down to anything, okay? But in 2019, at the time that I was still talking to off-planetary commander before my incident where I had to be protected and that had to be cut off. One of the last conversations I had with the commander was about the looking glass technology being taken away from certain powers. Now, I knew what looking glass technology was, but I didn't really get the gist of it. It's not something I ever, I heard it mentioned in passing. It's not something I ever looked into. It's not something that I ever studied. Okay. Most of you probably know what looking glass technology is, but I'm going to do a brief explanation and why it was so important to them for people that don't know. With looking glass technology, it would allow them to go to a certain nexus point in time and look at what the probability was of the outcome. Now, they're looking for the probability of the outcome they want, or the probability to an outcome of any question they might be posing to get an answer from. So looking glass technology is when they were able to look specifically at a timeline. And I'm going to show it to you like this, okay? So they would look at a timeline like we're looking at my hand and say, okay, here in the center of my hand is what they're looking at. They want to know what's happening here. They want to know what's going to happen from this energy in the palm of my hand. So they look at this probability, this probability, this probability, this probability, this probability. So what they're looking at is the nexus. That's the joint in the timeline. And then my fingers are the probability for directions in which that thing could go through that nexus in time. Like, okay, we're going to do this, and that will lead to this, or this. Well, they've been using this technology for thousands of years, saying, here's our nexus point, this nexus point. I don't want to use any examples because any example that I think I'd use would be an issue on YouTube. But let's say they're using a control tactic or a manipulation tactic. That's what they're looking at the nexus for. If we do this, what's the probability that everybody on Tina's wave is going to react and go in this direction? Or would they go in this direction or this direction? So they would keep throwing things into this nexus, into this timeline, to see how it affected how they could get the best probable outcome that was their desire to control and manipulate the timeline. The last conversation I had with the commander, he said it has been taken away from them. They no longer have it. So 2019, right before all of this shit show that we call C19 started, they lost their ability to look at the nexus, throw in their ideas, their evil ways, so to speak, and see where that was going to lead them, or what was the most probable outcome that that certain scenario dropped into the nexus point would create. When they lost that, after having it for thousands and thousands of years, maybe millions of years, they just started throwing things at humanity as fast as they could. They had no way to gauge anything other than our reaction, right? So instead of throwing things into the nexus and looking at what timeline that branched off into, the only gauge they had became how we reacted. So C19, all the other things that have gone on for the last 3 years, they throw all that stuff into the mixing pot or into the nexus point, because they don't have any idea where we even are, to be honest with you, but they're still throwing it out there, okay? They're throwing it out there and seeing what sticks, so to speak. So in throwing that out there and seeing what they can throw out there and have stick, the only way they could gauge us is by literally watching what was going on the news or on YouTube or some sort of social media platform. And that's when censorship went to an all-time high, right? And the reason is that social media became their only way to gauge how we are reacting in that moment to whatever scenario they're throwing into the 3D mixing pot. Now, that's the reason that censorship went absolutely nuts. It wasn't because of C19 or the other things that were going. Those things were a byproduct of them losing the technology, okay? So looking glass technology allowed them to figure out the most likely probability of the scenario. Then they lost it. Their only way to gauge us was through social media or the news or YouTube or Facebook or whatever all those platforms were. And that's when the crackdown really started. If you're wondering where that came from, that's where that came from. Now, why are they so sought after, the core or the sacral chakra of Earth, or my own sacral chakra or your own sacral chakra? Why are they monitoring us 24/7? They can say it's to see if I use Tide or Arm & Hammer or baking soda laundry detergent, but that has nothing to do with that. That's just a really convenient excuse. Because we're at the place where within the human avatar, the DNA is turned on to where we have become looking glass technology. We are the looking glass technology. So they lost their technology and we gained it. Only we gained it through an organic way, and they had it removed from them because they weren't playing nice in the sandbox, as we all know. So we became the looking glass technology. Why are we being monitored 24/7? Is it really to know what kind of drinks I use, what kind of laundry detergent I use? No, has nothing to do with that. That's just their convenient side story. I have the ability to tap into looking glass technology and use it whenever I want. And what's happening within the DNA being turned on is people are automatically coming into access with looking glass technology, and they're not even aware of it. Now, looking glass, what you're looking into is the Akashic record, which, as we know, we're already looking at the Akashic record. So what I'm telling you, the reason for the 24/7 monitoring is because you are the only thing they have left of looking glass technology. That tells you how brilliant you are. It's amazing. However, there's something really important about you being looking glass technology that I need you to know. They cannot, through all of their monitoring and their 24/7 BS, they do not know what I'm feeling. Hence their need or want to get to the core of Earth, the sacral of Earth, or the sacral of me, to know what I'm feeling, to know what I'm desiring, but they can't. AI can't do it, and they don't have looking glass anymore. So the reason for the 24/7 monitoring goes back to the fact that you and I, us, we are now looking glass technology. And you may not know exactly how to use it, and you may be accessing it by accident or even by design synchronicity, and you may not know that you're doing it or where these visions or things are coming from. But I'm telling you, it's coming from your ability to be looking glass technology. It's part of your DNA that's turned on. Now, their need or want or desire to get to that sacral chakra is not only just to stop you from creating, from speaking, from turning your words into things, to manifestations. They cannot read your thoughts. They can't do it, okay? They cannot read your emotions, and they cannot read your thoughts. The only thing that they can track, the only thing that they can actually see is what your actions are. So if I'm thinking about my plan, or I'm having emotions or happiness about my plan, they don't have a clue. They only know when I take pen and paper out and write it down, or they will know when I make a video or write an article or call someone and start talking about it because they have that surveillance. But I want you to know they cannot read your thoughts, they cannot read your emotions. They are simply using you to look at what's going on in the world by throwing things in the mixing pot and seeing what action you are taking in your life to be a part of that, disengage from that, however you want to look at that. So that's what's going on. We have become looking glass technology. I am very, very super excited to see what kind of changes within my body, within my field of manifestation and manifestation come up in the next 14 days. Now, you guys know I don't sit here and work on a doctoral thesis and deliver something when I know it. Whenever I feel that I need to turn the camera on and start talking, that's what I do. That's why when you come on here, half the time the title doesn't have anything to do with the video. Why is that? Because I don't know what the video is going to be about, or I know the video is going to be about looking glass technology or clearing the center of the earth so that our demanifestation and our manifestation abilities are amped up to full natural organic force. But I know nothing else that's going to come out of my mouth. That is also why there is no video description until I make the video, rewatch the video, and then write the description from watching what I've just said. So that's how that works. Thank you for being here. I really, really, really am interested to know if Eastern Standard Time 1-ish on Saturday, October 15th, you guys experienced being involved in anything energetically, physically, whether you knew it, whether you took a nap. Were you present? Because I know it wasn't the three of us. I know that there was a group of us, and it's the same group of us that closed it to stop the invasion. So I know that there was a lot more people involved in this than just me, Connie, and Mary, right? It's not exactly how it works. And I'm also curious, very, very curious to see what changes come about within the next 14 days. And again, I don't know if that's Saturday, October 14th, 14 days from there, or we're talking 14 days from now, which would be, I guess, Halloween, which is interesting. But I do find it very interesting that 14 days lands us between the 29th and the 30th of October, because we all know, or most of us know, what Halloween has been used for a millennia. So have we cleared this before All Hallows Eve to stop their normal Halloween protocol? Definitely. This is going to be a really, really interesting month and a really interesting next 3 months until the end of this year. Stay tuned. Thanks for being here, and thanks for all the work that you're doing and supporting me and allowing to use what is within me and speaking that to you and being open and being here. So much love and so much gratitude for you and your work and your support of me. Thank you. Bye.